Hey guys, how are you? Thank you so much for joining. This is the Toy Collector once again coming in with a discussion that I find is important. I am going through all sorts of gaming consoles trying to figure out what my next purchase will be for a next generation console. And my God, are there a lot of choices? I mean, it's absolutely nonsense. You go and check out reviews, you check out thoughts, specs, all this crazy things until you realize that they're either focusing on the product because they're being sponsored by them or they want to kind of like tear it down, which is absolutely incredible. I will never be able to do something like that. So I'm just too paranoid to kind of like destroy the actual console that I paid a couple $100s for it, just because I was curious to see what was inside of it. So props to these guys, but it still doesn't tell me which one I should buy. And I get it. It's a lot to take in, a lot of opinions, a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. So I want to do my own kind of like review based on a gamer's perspective, kind of like from gamer for gamers, rather than, hey, I'm being sponsored by these guys, so let me kind of tell you all the good and pros about this company. Well, there's absolutely no point in that. I'm curious about my next purchase. So we're going to go through a bunch of consoles here. So everything that is either out or about to come out, I guess. So obviously the first one that I have on my list here is the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, respectively. So they're both, I would say, the next gen consoles. And it goes, you look online and it goes like both ways. Who's the best? Who has the best specs? Which we do all know that if you've actually looked at it a little bit, it is Xbox. But is it really going to make a difference at the end of the line? It's not. It's still the games that's going to make the difference and how it's going to run on that specific console. So I have to give an edge to PlayStation at the moment for the simple purpose that they have a lot more games coming out. At the moment, you look at their accessories and, quite frankly, the look. I mean, I don't like the CD, the way they, I should say, the Blu-ray, um, how they put the disc inside, the way it looks. It doesn't really look aesthetically pleasing, let's be honest. But looking at the digital version, it's absolutely incredible. Look how beautiful that it is. Like it does look like a video game console rather than feeling that I own a cereal box, right? So I have to give a huge edge to PlayStation here. So I know we scrolled over a few things here. So the games, like I said before, they're a lot more present on the PlayStation 5 at the moment. The accessories, there's a ton of them. Look how beautiful they are, and they're all fitting in together. The specs wise, right? Like I mentioned before, it's not who has necessarily the best specs, it's how will the game run based on those specs. You can have the most powerful specs in the industry if you don't have the games to back it up, or if they don't actually run like they're supposed to on that gaming console. Like looking back at consoles like the Sega Saturn, for example, absolutely amazing specs at the time compared to the PlayStation, but they weren't running like they were supposed to. In some cases, like some games, they look better on the PlayStation just because the way it was built, right? It was actually built based on the developers in mind. So this is why I'm kind of going for more the PlayStation 5 in this case. Has a lot more things going for it right now. Plus, like I said, from a gamer's perspective, I'd rather have this being displayed than the Xbox. This is my opinion. You guys may not agree with it. This is how I feel. The main downside here, the price. I mean, these consoles are ridiculous in price. I mean, $500-$600 for a console. Obviously, you're gonna need more than one remote. You're gonna need games to go with it. You're looking at a very expensive console to start off. You're looking at the Xbox. Same type of situation here. Like I said before, specs are a lot better in their case, but the price is what really makes a difference. I mean, their subscription is a lot better when it comes to the PlayStation, which is essentially the difference maker, I believe, for the Xbox. And I love how much emphasis they're putting on their surround sound. I love that, right? So something new that it feels like not everybody's paying as much attention to it, but that's a huge part of your gaming experience. So Xbox is there at the moment. Not very excited about it, especially paying $600, remote controls, games, everything. It's a very big price to pay, right? I essentially got my PlayStation 4 for the sole purpose of playing Diablo 3 on it. I know Diablo 3 was not the best game ever developed in the world, but it was, for me, I wanted to have it in my collection. It was a part of it. Plus, the look of the PlayStation 4 is a lot nicer, right? This is what someone that is not necessarily the most hardcore gamer will really look at. Yes, you're going to look at specs, but are you going to be embarrassed to show it in front of your in front, or I would say maybe below or somewhere? Like, are you going to be embarrassed to display it? Right? These things do make a difference. It shouldn't, but they really do. So the games is number one, specs definitely, but the look does matter as well. The sound is right up there. So props to Xbox for actually doing these type of uh, next gen. Uh, I guess you can call it experience, right? Really focusing on the sound as well. So good job there. I included the Nintendo Switch just for the sole purpose that we're hearing about the Pro that's coming out. So out of these three top, you know, gaming consoles, we essentially went for the Nintendo Switch this Christmas. Um, if you guys watched anything else from our channel, except for the discussions, you'll notice that my son is a huge, uh, uh, what's called the gamer when it comes to Pokemon. So obviously they have Sword and Shield, and they also have Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. So the Nintendo Switch it made sense for him, but at the same time, it is a lot cheaper. I mean, even $100 or going on special and then paying maybe $200 or $150 cheaper than what these next gen consoles would cost is significant, because with that extra savings, you can definitely get yourself an extra remote, extra couple of games. They do add up, right? It's not that many people that are going to necessarily invest $1,000 or $1,500 on a gaming console. Perfect perfect example is what's happened right now between the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X with the scalpers, right? They thought it would be a great idea to kind of buy all these consoles out and see if they can jack up the price and just make a killing, and it's failing miserably. So there you go. People are not necessarily going to pay that much money for it. So I believe that the smarter choice here would be the Nintendo Switch, and hopefully the Nintendo Switch Pro that might be coming up. So here's where it gets interesting though. So we're talking about Nintendo Switch, yes. How about Stadia? I know you guys are probably laughing right now, but Stadia is actually making an impact. as time goes by. I mean, I don't think they're there yet, but they are getting there. They're announcing more games, and let's face it, playing your game from anywhere is a huge deal. Having more than one TV, for example, and wanting to play your favorite game and realizing that, oh, you know what, somebody else wants to watch, I don't know, uh, uh, a show, an event, something on TV. Well, that doesn't really help your case. You still want to go through and play your favorite game. You can just pick up your remote control and go continue and playing it anywhere else, essentially. So Stadia is there. It's not there yet because of the cost. I mean, it's a lot more affordable right off the bat when you're comparing it to a next gen console. But actually having to pay all these games again, there's it's not it's not feasible, right? Looking at games like, look at this, $90 for a game. Imagine owning this dollar, what am I saying? Imagine owning this game, wanting to play it on Stadia, you can't. And what happens if Google decides, you know what, this wasn't a big success, let me close it. We're not interested in having Stadia anymore. You just lost all your investment. So there's a lot of cons I find on Stadia at this moment, but if you didn't have those few but major cons about the gaming console, which is not even a console if you think about it, uh, it would make a lot more sense for you to have this, right? If you're interested in this type of gameplay, I would probably tell people you're better off with the NVIDIA system. It makes a lot more sense for you to have it like that, right? But except for that, I mean, the whole idea of Stadia is so smart. So smart. It doesn't necessarily do exactly what it said in in terms of resolution and everything. Yes, there's a lot of people that have had issues on it. I've read a lot of reviews, not only on gamers, but people just completely trying it out to see where they're at. Is it doing it? And it's not always, but it is what it is. I mean, think about it. Is necessarily realistic to believe that every single person will be able to play this 4K, especially considering your TV may not even be able to support it. I mean, let's be honest, right? So it's a good idea. They're getting there, I believe. Let's see what they do about price wise or what they can do around that. At this moment, it's not something I would actually buy. I tried the demo. They had a demo for, I believe it was a week. I tried it. Nothing special except for being able to pick up my controller and going to my second TV and saying, okay, I'll play it there because let's say my son is watching television. Except for that, there was not a significant wow factor here. So these are, you can call them like the top four companies. But there's a lot of other companies that are either coming out or they're already out. I don't know. Have you guys seen this? The Kentucky Fried Chicken console. I'm just speechless. I mean, why? Why is the question here? I would never buy this. Just for the sole purpose, think of it. You're looking at the specs here, and they're actually pretty good, right? They're actually pretty, like we're talking about Aces, we're talking about Seagate. We're like it's not like VR ready. VR on what? I have no clue. 4K TV gaming, fantastic. In theory, these guys are like the specs are there, but first of all, I just picture myself spending a couple $100 on this console just to realize that number one, there could be an incident where something might leak. That's my biggest concern. Although I'm sure they did all their precautions and making sure nothing gets damaged, but I'll always have that in the back of my head. And even taking that out of the picture, well, how about this? It it's not. at the moment an actual console. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's there's no games, there's nothing attached to it, there's no ecosystem, right? You're going to a PlayStation, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. You know exactly what you're going to play, you know exactly what to look forward to. The Xbox, same thing. The Nintendo, definitely. Even Stadia. You may or may not like this way of playing, but you know what it is. What will you play on this console? So, from what I understood, this is supposed to be like a type of, I guess, twin one. You can kind of like use it as a PC at the same time. I've heard a lot of people kind of mentioning this in the reviews. Maybe, maybe not, right? But let's just assume it's a console because they're telling us it is. And I don't know what kind of games you can possibly encourage me to play on this thing, and why would I put chicken in it? Anyways, to me, the thing that this reminds me of is this. Do you guys remember this? Right in the early 2012, 13, I believe it was. Great idea. Not exactly there, right? It was a huge flop. So KFC, I get it, but no, I really wouldn't be buying this. Um, Another great idea. Third-party developers' dream. Crank the system and play games. Very nice. So if you run out of battery, you can definitely go in and kind of just crank it yourself and play your video game. Look at this. Great idea. Absolutely. Fantastic idea. Next game console? No, obviously. Next. Atari, for you guys that don't know, this is, look at this. PC console hybrid. So there's a lot of people from what I see that actually have made reviews out of this. I suggest you guys check it out. Especially one of my favorites is Spawn Wave, I believe it's called. I'll try to find it and leave a link at the description below. Really did a whole breakdown and guess you got one early. Yeah, this is a wonderful idea on paper, but for the price that you pay, that's almost the exact same price as a PlayStation or Xbox. No, I don't see it. And the main thing that they have going for them is you you can definitely use it as a PC type of a console, but at the same time it's console that does not really provide as much variety at this time. You can even use it as a type of Fire Stick or Roku or something. And but is this going to be really your selling point of your console? It really shouldn't be, right? Especially since I can buy a Roku right now for anywhere between $20 to 100. Why would I pay 400 for this console, right? Great idea. Next is this guy. Look at this. This guy's a beast. It does everything. Everything. Look at this. Beautiful system. Has so many things that basically you can go through into the sole purpose of where is it? Did I accidentally pass it? I think I passed it. Let me see. I may have passed it. Anyways, the whole point uh, of this gaming console is that it can essentially play. Oh, there's some of them. It can play pretty much everything, right? It has a lot of controllers, accessories, but you can go through Super Nintendo, NES, you can go through Sega Saturn that I've always wanted to own one, but I never got an opportunity to go and purchase one. Even right now, TurboGrafx 16, PlayStation, pretty much everything, right? So it's like a type of clone for every single retro game. What a great idea! Whoever decided to make this. But guess the price. It's more expensive than the next gen consoles. Not something I'm looking forward, right? Maybe if it gets a little bit cheaper. I don't think as a gamer I would invest that much money on a retro console, right? But it looks so sleek, so beautiful. This is actually what I'm looking forward to, right? So when they come available, when it's like right now they're pre-ordered because they completely sold out. So think of a Game Boy, right? But it's more than that. This specific thing plays everything. You can hook it up to your TV and play it as a video game console, Game Gear games as well, Neo Geo Pocket, Atari Lynx, obviously Game Boy, and there's actually these adapters attached to it. So I think this is, look at this, some of the capabilities, what it can do, right? I'm really looking forward to actually picking something like this up. It's not just, and it tells you, you can even look at this, right? It's not just a gaming console. So this, despite the fact that it's not a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, I believe that this is going to be my next purchase. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, maybe if you guys get cheaper, but this is the next best thing for me. Tell me what you guys think. Like it if you liked it, subscribe. I will be going into more details with all of these consoles, and maybe you guys can tell me what you think. Do you agree with me? I'm very curious. For me, this is, I think, my top choice at the moment just because of everything. It's not all about specs. It's what can it do? What can you offer me? Am I embarrassed to display it on my screen? Or am I embarrassed to display it in my living room? These are big things. You're a gamer, great. You're looking at specs, fantastic. But we're talking about price. You're talking about aesthetics. What can it offer you? All these things do matter. And for me, this is my top choice at this moment. I mean, I'm sure PlayStation's coming out with something exciting, maybe a VR. Xbox is going to be doing some additional things as well. So my opinion will change eventually. At the moment, this is it. Tell me what you guys think, and thank you so much. We'll talk to you next time.